Welcome back, everyone. You know we like to go deep around here. Well, today we're diving into something a little different.
Different? How so?
Well, we're going to be exploring this ancient Tamil script called the Vinayaka Agaval.
Oh, interesting. I'm not familiar with that one. What's it about?
It's a fascinating text full of spiritual insights and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, there's this one verse that actually kind of connects to modern science.
Really? Now you've got me intrigued. What kind of connection are we talking about here?
Okay, so imagine this. Darkness and then, like, the vastness of space.
All right, I'm picturing it. Darkness and space.
Now, imagine them coming from the same source. That's what this verse from the Vinayaka Agaval is getting at. It says, Irul veli erandum andridum ena, arulthorum anandathai azuthian civil, which basically means darkness and vast space both originate from the same source.
Wow. That's pretty profound, especially considering how old this text is.
Right. And it gets even more interesting when you think about how we experience this duality every single day.
You mean like going from sleep to wakefulness?
Exactly. We go from the darkness of sleep to the kind of like the expansiveness of being awake.
Hmm?
What if those states aren't actually opposites but interconnected, just like the verse suggests?
I see where you're going with this. And that's where melatonin and serotonin come into play.
Okay, so melatonin, most people know that's the hormone of darkness, right?
Yeah, it's what signals our bodies that it's time to rest, helps us fall asleep.
It's kind of crazy how something we can't see or touch has such a powerful effect on how we feel.
You know, it's really quite fascinating how it all works. Melatonin interacts with specific receptors in our brain and actually initiates a whole cascade of physiological changes to prepare us for sleep.
So it's like melatonin dims the lights and our bodies just start to relax and unwind naturally.
Precisely. And speaking of lights, that's one of the main cues that influences melatonin production. Darkness triggers its release.
Okay, so that's the darkness part. But what about when we wake up?
Mm-hmm.
How do we transition to that vast space of awareness and energy? Isn't that where serotonin comes in?
You got it. Serotonin is key for regulating our mood, focus, keeping us alert, and, well, functioning throughout the day.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that when I don't get enough sleep, my mood is totally off. Like I'm way more irritable. I wonder if that's got something to do with my serotonin levels.
It's certainly possible. A lot of things can influence serotonin levels, but sleep is definitely one of the big ones. Not getting enough sleep can disrupt that balance.
Okay, so we've got melatonin guiding us into sleep and then serotonin bringing us into the light of day. It's kind of like they're two sides of the same coin, right? Mirroring that whole darkness and vast space idea from Vinayaka Agaval. But I'm curious, is there an actual connection between these two compounds, like chemically speaking?
There is, and it's pretty amazing. So inside the pineal gland, serotonin actually serves as a precursor to melatonin.
Whoa, wait a minute. So the chemical that helps us feel awake and energized actually transforms into the chemical that helps us sleep. How does that even work?
Well, it's a bit complicated, but basically, through a series of enzymatic reactions, the pineal gland converts serotonin into melatonin.
It's almost like this ancient text had an intuitive understanding of what was happening in our brains way before modern science could explain it. It's like they were already aware of this profound interconnectedness between these seemingly opposite states.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does. So we've got this tiny little pineal gland tucked away in our brains, and it's responsible for this incredible transformation from serotonin to melatonin. It's orchestrating our daily rhythms of sleep and wakefulness. It's like a conductor of our internal symphony.
What else is going on in this mysterious gland? I mean, is it really our third eye, like some people say?
It really is a fascinating structure, the pineal gland.
Yeah.
Even its name is kind of cool.
How so?
Well, it comes from the Latin word pinea, which means pine cone.
Ah, because of its shape. I've seen pictures. It's like this tiny little pine cone right in the middle of our brains.
Right. And it's been a source of mystery and speculation for, like, centuries. Yeah, I mean, across so many different cultures, it's been linked to spiritual awakening and higher consciousness. Like, it's often called the third eye. But is there any actual science to back that up?
Well, there are definitely some interesting theories out there. But from a scientific standpoint, we know for sure that the pineal gland plays a crucial role in regulating our sleep-wake cycles by producing melatonin.
Right, right. It's like our internal clock, keeping us in sync with the rhythms of day and night.
Exactly. But here's something even more amazing. The pineal gland doesn't just rely on information from our eyes to know when it's dark or light. It actually has its own photoreceptor cells.
Wait, so it can sense light directly, like it has its own little window to the world.
Pretty much. Although those photoreceptor cells aren't as sophisticated as the ones in our eyes.
Still, that's pretty wild. I wonder if that's why ancient cultures viewed it as the third eye. Like maybe they sensed this direct connection to light and interpreted it as a gateway to a deeper perception of reality.
It's an interesting thought, but we do have to be careful about making those kinds of leaps without solid scientific evidence. The pineal gland was probably more exposed and played a bigger role in light detection for our, early ancestors. So this direct light sensitivity could just be a leftover trait from our evolutionary past, but who knows, maybe there's more to it than we currently understand.
Yeah, there's still so much we're learning about the brain. But okay, so we talked about the pineal gland's role in sleep. What about its connection to consciousness?
Yeah.
I mean, is there any truth to those ideas?
Well, some researchers believe that the pineal gland, through the production of melatonin and other neurochemicals, might actually be involved in altered states of consciousness.
Altered states? Like, what do you mean?
Things like dreams, meditation, even mystical experiences. There's been a lot of speculation about the pineal gland and its potential to influence our consciousness in ways we don't fully grasp yet.
I've heard about that. But how much evidence is there, really?
It's still early days in terms of research, but there are some intriguing clues. For instance, there's this theory that the pineal gland might produce small amounts of DMT.
DMT, whoa, as in the powerful psychedelic.
The very same. And, DMT is known to induce these really profound alterations in consciousness. So some scientists are exploring the possibility that the pineal gland is involved in those kinds of experiences.
So are you saying our brains might be producing their own psychedelics?
It's a possibility that researchers are investigating. There have been studies that suggest the presence of DMT in the pineal gland, but the quantities are very small and we don't fully understand what role it plays, if any.
Man, this is getting pretty deep. It all circles back to that idea from the Vinaya Agavli, that darkness and vast space come from the same source. Could it be that the pineal gland, with its influence on sleep, wakefulness, and potentially even consciousness, is the key to understanding this whole interconnectedness thing?
It's a captivating thought, isn't it? And maybe with continued research, we'll unlock even more of the pineal gland's secrets and gain a deeper understanding of how it fits into the bigger picture of human experience. But even with all the scientific advancements we've made, there's still a lot of mystery surrounding the brain and consciousness. It's a humbling reminder of how much we still don't know.
Absolutely. It's like the more we learn, the more we realize how much there is still to discover.
Right.
But hey, let's bring this back down to earth for a second. For our listeners out there, what are some practical things people can take away from all this? Like, how can this knowledge about the pineal gland and melatonin and serotonin actually help us in our everyday lives?
Well, a big takeaway here is really about respecting our natural rhythms.
Okay, like how do we do that?
Well, think about it. Our pineal gland, our internal clock, it thrives on consistency.
Right. Consistency.
Exactly. And when we mess with those cycles, staying up late, staring at screens, irregular sleep schedules, it throws everything off balance.
It's like we're constantly fighting against our own bodies instead of working with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that can lead to all sorts of problems, right?
Absolutely. Mood swings, fatigue, trouble focusing, you name it. So creating an environment that supports healthy sleep is crucial.
So dimming the lights at night.
Exactly. Limiting screen time before bed, and sticking to a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends.
Makes sense. But what about serotonin? We were talking about how important it is for mood and well-being. Is there anything we can do to boost that naturally?
Oh, absolutely. Spending time in nature is a great one.
Oh yeah, nature's a good one.
Yeah. And exercise, getting that body moving,
Hmm?
and even practicing mindfulness or meditation.
So it's really about finding those activities that make you feel good and, just incorporating them into your daily routine.
Exactly. It's not about chasing some constant state of happiness, It's about finding that balance, learning to manage the ups and downs.
It's like what we were talking about with the Vinagara, right?
Hmm.
That whole idea of interconnectedness.
Yes. It's all connected. Just like darkness and vast space come from the same source, so do joy and sorrow, effort and ease, all those dualities of human experience.
It's like we need both to truly appreciate the other. The light and the shadow. It's all part of the journey.
Beautifully put. And who knows, maybe the pineal gland, this tiny little gland in our brains, plays a much bigger role in all of this than we ever imagine.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe it really is a gateway to a deeper understanding of consciousness, like those ancient traditions suggest. But, even if we never fully unravel that mystery, the Vinayagar Agaval offers this powerful message about, seeking unity amidst all those apparent dualities in our lives.
Yes, it's a reminder to embrace the full spectrum of our experiences.
Well, on that note, I think we're about out of time for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Yes, thanks for listening, everyone, and keep exploring.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those pineal glands humming.